Good evening, boys and girls. We are doing a little 4K rectification today. That's right. We are getting 4K crazy with a K. What do I mean by that? Well, we have the first two Thor films on 4K with the slips that came from eBay, as well as Doctor Strange on 4K with the slip that also came from eBay, from the same seller, in fact. And it's all part of the overall quest to get back all of the MCU films in 4K, as well as plenty of ones that I didn't have before. And getting close, getting close to being done. Some other ones are on their way. But yeah, I'm getting very close to having them all back, and I'll be a proud Marvel fan once again. Now, we got a little 4K rectification, and why is that? Because Amazon finally delivered to me a not destroyed version of the Back to the Future trilogy in 4K. How about that? I'm very pleased because, boy, was I not pleased when that first delivery came. And luckily this came yesterday, so it was thankfully a much quicker turnaround time than I anticipated. But anyway, now I can finally show it off to you if you don't already have it yourself. But yeah, we got this is like the big limited edition gift set here with the hoverboard there by Mattel. And obviously it's got all three films, and we're going to open it up and see what's inside. So, we have the normal set, which if you were to go to the store without the gift set part, that's what you'd see. And we're going to open that one up for you with our handy dandy scissors. How are you this fine Sunday? Hopefully you're doing well. I'm trying to keep my head above water, as always. Let's see. Alright, so we got our trilogy set there, and we're gonna open it up, and we got the DeLorean there, and we got the classic look there. We have our 4K codes that I'm gonna sell. I can already feel them. I did something really stupid the other day with my Batman Beyond set. I was gonna sell them in one of the code groups that I am a part of, and I accidentally sent a picture with the code and someone grabbed it, so but at least somebody benefited from it. Did my good deed, I suppose. So yeah, 1885, 1955, 1985, and 2015, all of which are in the past now, which is hard to believe, but it's true. Obviously you got the original film, which is a classic, and Part 2 and Part 3. I love all of them. I think they comprise a really, really great trilogy of films, and obviously there's a bonus disc there. Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating, fabulous series. I never get tired of it. It's very, very formulative for myself and for tons and tons of people ever since it first came out. And then let's check out this awesome replica of the hoverboard, shall we? Let's see. It's in this little, looks almost like, like if you, your, girlfriend or wife or whatever, if that person was to order makeup or something from a, online source, they can often come in these kind of white wooden boxes. So we've got a little instructional thing. Set levitation base on level surface with logo upright. Gently place hoverboard between clear side guards and release. It should levitate 12 millimeters. Press down on hoverboard and release. Lightly bump to move back and forth, or pick up base to move the hoverboard. Okay. So, what on earth could that mean? So, this right here is the base. It's got the logo there, and then here is the hoverboard. Looks so cute and dainty, doesn't it? It's, hoverboard there. It's pink. It's by Mattel, because in the version of 2015, in the film Back to the Future Part 2, you had the hoverboard that was basically, used like a scooter, but then he takes the handle part off, and, there you go. So now, looks like there's magnetic strips on there, which is probably what will contribute to it levitating. And yes, indeed, that is the case. As you can see, that it has a bit of magnetic repellence. Repellence? Is that a word? Yeah. So yeah, it does levitate because it magnetically repels the other side. Now, if I were to, yep, so I put it on the other side, the opposite pole, and it sticks. So yeah, this is much the same way that a levitating train or whatever. That's how that functions. So there's your science lesson for the day, kids. But I'm very happy with this particular version of it because the hoverboard's one of my favorite things about the series, on top of obviously the DeLorean itself, and particularly when it can fly. Because who doesn't want a flying car, especially one that looks that cool? So yeah, very pleased with that set. Very pleased with the movies themselves, and little added bonus for you. We got one that I had been meaning to pick up when it came out in September, but that was the Alfred Hitchcock Classics Collection there on 4K. And obviously, Alfred Hitchcock is one of, if not the, greatest director of all time. I mean, my personal hero is Stanley Kubrick still, so I mean, I'm gonna be in the Kubrick fanboy part of the arena, shall we say, in that section. But Alfred Hitchcock obviously came before, and we wouldn't have Steven Spielberg without him. We wouldn't have so much of the idea of the auteur theory of cinema, where the director is considered, the author of the film. We wouldn't have that without Hitchcock having, put such a strong stamp of his own just vision for the story. He put such a strong authorial stamp on it that we owe all of that to him. And the thing I'd say with Hitchcock is, like, most people when they think of Hitchcock, there's the inside. Most people when they think of Hitchcock, they think of one of these, and then maybe something like Rope or North by Northwest, things like that. But his filmography is really extensive, and mostly whenever we talk about Hitchcock films, we usually talk about his later period films, which these were in his later period. Not his late period, because then you're talking about, like, Family Plot and Frenzy, things like that. But I do find that rather amusing. So, like, whenever we talk about his filmography, we're generally talking about his later period work. But he had a pretty extensive filmography, and I will, get them all in the collection eventually. It's just there's a lot to cover, because there's a lot of stuff that he did that people don't really talk about much. But anyway, what makes this particular set special is that for the very first time, we have the extended version of Psycho, or Psycho Uncut. It's the extended version of the movie as shown in theaters in 1960, exactly as intended by Alfred Hitchcock, and now available with additional footage for the first time ever. And then, of course, you also have the most widely seen version of the movie. It was edited for content and subsequently used for TV broadcast, theatrical re-releases, and home entertainment over the last 60 years. So that's pretty significant. I don't know if they, like, found the footage or if they just happened to restore it or who knows what, but it's kind of important because Psycho is an exceptionally important work in horror cinema. It's kind of the prototypical slasher, just an amazing masterpiece of a film all the way around. So I'm really thrilled to be able to finally see the uncut version of Psycho that I didn't even know existed, But out of all of his work, I mean, Psycho has been possibly the most influential, and also it was quite perverse for its time, and I don't think a lot of people would necessarily bat an eye at it today, but it was such that it really did cause quite a stir because of the perversity of the subject matter. I mean, it came out in the same year as Peeping Tom, which also covered similar themes. But nonetheless, I'm really, really looking forward to diving into that. And yeah, I'd highly recommend just checking out this set and all of Alfred Hitchcock's work. So it's interesting when you look on the back here, because these movies came out before the MPAA was a thing, and yet I assume some older movies, they get kind of retroactively rated. I assume because of, well, home video release or like a theatrical re-release or something, they have to, go through that process. And Rear Window and Vertigo are a PG. The Birds is a PG-13, which is interesting because the PG-13 rating would not come along until the mid '80s. G, PG, and R, they were out, and or X, which eventually became NC-17. Those came out, when the MPAA came along, which was like in 1968. So I find it funny that it's, again, you can clearly tell that's a retroactive rating there. And then Psycho is rated R, which is interesting. And I assume that they mean because of maybe the uncut aspects of it, or the, I mean, it is a slasher technically, and it's got, some blood, and it's kind of the perverseness of it, I suppose, could lead to that, but I find that more interesting than anything else. But yeah, just a quick little update there. I'm just thankful that my Back to the Future rectification has occurred. So if you like this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, set phasers to stun, warp factor 5. I'll see you in the next video, and keep those hoverboards a hovering, my friends. That's just too cool, isn't it? I love it.